Suicide needs to be talked about. We need to be able to talk about suicide with each other. Why is that so important? It's important because talking with each other can help decrease the sense of isolation and aloneness that someone who's thinking about taking their life very often feels. Reaching out to somebody else is something that anyone can do. And reaching out and listening with an open and accepting heart can be the first step in helping another person choose life.
Well, you know, a lot of times people think that if they are really open and blunt about asking about suicide, that it might push somebody closer to suicide. Or if somebody wasn't thinking about it, then now they are thinking about it. But we found that that's not true at all. That asking straight up and honestly about suicide is the best way to get clear and concise answers from the other person. It gives them permission to talk about it. Absolutely. And that you're ready to hear the answer. And even if they're not having thoughts of suicide, that they know now that you're prepared to talk to them when you are, when they are, when somebody in their circle is having thoughts of suicide.
Some examples of things that you might just begin to say to someone are, I'm here for you. I'd really like to listen, and I'd really like to hear what you have to say. One other, example might be, what I'm hearing from you is that you're really struggling and you're really in a lot of pain. Can you help me understand more about that?
I remember a time when someone really connected with me, and the reason that that individual connected with me was the fact that they were able to hold hope for me. They were able to challenge me in ways that I'd never been challenged before. They were active listeners. They took the time to listen and really answer back so that I understood that they were really listening to me on a deeper level.
I had this support worker that was just awesome, and it was the little things again, like going for coffee or going for a walk, or we didn't really have to talk about mental health particulars. We had to just talk about stuff. Did you watch this movie? Did you see it? And having someone like that deal with day-to-day things really helped me get over a lot of humps of whether or not, can I do this?
For me, when people are gentle and vulnerable in their approaches to me, I'm more likely to talk. I'm more likely to be more open and less hiding. Because I know when people have thoughts of suicide, they tend to hide a lot of what they're feeling from others. So having that open-hearted, kind, honest approach can help us break down that barrier, that wall between us and the person that's trying to get through.
Don't be afraid to talk about suicide. Don't be afraid to ask if you're concerned about someone. Ask, are you thinking of taking your life? Are you thinking about killing yourself? Is suicide on your mind? And then listen to them. Really, really listen. Be present. Be non-judgmental. Listen with an open heart and accept the person for where they are at that time.
They had faith in me. And for them to have faith in me, then I began to sort of have faith in myself and to build my self-esteem.
I think when we step into that darkness of another person's life that's having thoughts of suicide, we show them that we are prepared to be courageous. We're prepared to be in their circle of vulnerability. And that can be a very difficult place to be, but when we do that, we show them that we are willing. It's about having that willing heart. It's about the other person knowing that you're prepared to go through this with them, and that you're prepared to give them the time that they need, whatever time they need. It's really important for them to know that you're not going anywhere.
I definitely feel like I'm more open to sharing when I'm on equal ground with the person that I'm communicating with.
Although every person and every situation is different, there are some approaches that can really be helpful in connecting with other people and helping them to feel like you're really listening and interested in what they have to say.
It's often that when you put yourself out there in a very personal way and ask those straight up questions, that they now know that they can talk to you?
I think that if you are able to make a connection with someone, it would absolutely make a difference about whether they would, want to attempt suicide, live or die. I think that once you make that connection, you finally have a sense of belonging, a sense that you're not alone in the world, a sense that you are worth something, and you can take that so many places.
Other things to keep in mind are just your body language, and just to really be present with someone and maintain eye contact, not to stare at them, but to look at them like you're really with them, and lean forward and pay attention. Those things mean an awful lot when someone is trying to tell you something. Things that may not be so helpful that sometimes people say are, things like, well, it can't be so bad. Really, if you just did this, everything would be okay. Those kind of statements can make someone feel like their feelings aren't really important, and that you don't really understand what they're going through, and that somehow they should be feeling differently than they feel.
I think for someone just to sit with me and be with me made all the difference in the world. There was no expectations. There was no judgment. There was sometimes no dialogue at all, but it gave me moments of reflection, and I think it gave opportunity for the person to just be with me and to kind of cement the relationship, to make it stronger.
I know that as a person who has had thoughts of suicide, that I've had people, and certain people, approach me in the most kind of ways. And in my workplace, they have been very open to point out when my behaviors have changed, or they feel that possibly I'm in a position of danger. And not that I have been at the time, but they were able to come into my space and come into my personal life, and to be generous and kind and gentle with me to make sure that I was safe. Oh, there's so much stigma around mental illness and mental health that it's really hard to show your vulnerability, that you're not perfect. But we're not supposed to be perfect. As human beings, first off, we're not supposed to be perfect. And second off, we're not supposed to do it alone. It's really important that we have somebody with us to help us along the way. Crisis lines are available 24 hours, 7 days a week.